Good afternoon, good afternoon. This is Spirit Journey. I want to wish you all a happy Emancipation Day. Those of you who are in the chat room, I invite you to say hello. Yes, I thank you all for coming on to the chat room. Yes, again, you're all invited to just say hello in the chat room so I could say hello back to you all. Yes, today is Wednesday, January 1st, 2020, and the time is now 3:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you all have had a wonderful day. Today in New York City, where I live, it's a lot of overcast, and I had gone out, walked my pack, my three little dogs, Lily, Lilac, and Lavender, and we didn't stay out too long, but we did a little over an hour walk and relaxation, and we came back. I became very tired after I ate my breakfast, and I took a nap while watching a video. But yes, today, what I want to talk about, I want to talk about what they call the Emancipation Proclamation. But why I want to talk about this? Oh, well, before I really start, I want to make sure that I could be heard clearly on the on this live stream. So those of you who are on the chat room, please let me know if I could be heard. Okay? Yes, it's very important. I want to be heard and that the transmission is doing well. Okay, yes, welcome new viewers. Yes, welcome. Have a, as I said, a happy Emancipation Day and Happy New Year. Yes. So, what I want to talk about? Well, I want to talk about what is the Emancipation Proclamation and why I want to discuss the Emancipation Proclamation. And the reason why I'm doing this video, well, yesterday I had gotten, I did a short little video. I went to Times Square, which is in New York City, and I did a little quick video with me and my little dogs, and I showed the viewers what it looks like in Times Square and how things were being set up for the big event. And I posted it up, and then I got a comment. So I want to share with you all the comment to give you a context why I'm doing this live stream. Okay, let me just change the screen here so I can share with you what I'm talking about. Okay, so could you all see the screen? Please let me know if you could see the screen. You just type in the chat room that you could see what I'm looking at. Hey, yes, I see you. King Ra, yes, good afternoon, good afternoon. Thank you for writing in the chat room. It's all appreciated, so I know that I'm being heard. So, King Ra, is what I'm saying clear enough for you? Is the audio and the visual part, is it clear? Is the transmission okay? Let me know with a yes or no. Okay, so as you see on the screen, You see a person by the name of, okay, thank you, King Ra. I see your response, that you see it. Wonderful, wonderful. And the audio's good too, King Ra? Okay, great, great. Okay, so I'm going to begin now. Now, as you see on your screen, a person by the name of Perspicacity, as you see here, it was posted by this individual 1 day ago. And as you see to the right of his avatar, you see my face, and the title of my video was New Year's Eve at Times Square 2019. Okay, great, great. Thank you, King Ra, that you can hear the audio well. Okay, so you see my picture, my thumbnail of the video that I uploaded yesterday. And it was to be a happy-go-lucky video. And it was just sharing you guys, because, those of you who have been following me, following my channel, I'm pretty open with you guys. I show you the good and I show you the bad, with regard to me and my emotions and, just on my spiritual journey. Okay? Because none of us are perfect. So here I'm in a good mood, and I just want to give, impart blessings because the new year is coming in. And so, Perspicacity had commented. His comment was, I'm going to read it out loud for those who might be in another room, but you want to still be a part of the live stream. So I'll read it out loud. It reads, so you celebrate the day when your, in capitals, oppressors sold, in caps, and ripped apart families. SMH means shaking my head. But anyway, what is April Fool's about? Okay, and then I respond. I'm going to show you my response. See, my response, let me just press on this screen here so you can see the whole response. Okay, let me scroll down. Oops. Okay. Let's wait a minute. I'm just navigating here. I'm using my stylus to scroll. Okay, so you see my avatar. Okay, this is what I respond to his statement. Hello, my friend. I see that you may be aware of the Emancipation Proclamation Day. My wishing peace and safety for this day to show goodwill to all around the world because it is New Year's Eve. They celebrate this day even in the Black Caribbean world where I lived there. Thank you for reminding me about New Year's Day being that special day that our country in the USA does not talk about or celebrate. Maybe I'll do a video tomorrow or midnight to light a candle for blacks in the USA who got emancipated. I put that in quotes. How will you be ushering the coming day that will be empowering for you and the community? Let me scroll down. No matter what the day is, peace, wellness to you and your family. Okay? And then he responds, Perspicacity responds 23 hours ago. SMH means shaking my head. What is April Fool's about? Okay? So, why I'm sharing this? Okay, I go to the original. Now, I thought Perspicacity's response, I thought it was very pointed. I thought it was very angry in spirit. Now, it's New Year's Eve, and whether we have different calendars. You go to China, they celebrate New Year's Day in February, and if you're Jewish, the Jewish calendar, I think they celebrate New Year's Day, I think in September. So they're all different calendars and different holidays. One thing with the calendar, that calendars are man-made. So any day is what you put in it. And things are happening worldwide for all people. You have things that are happening in Nigeria. You have things that are happening in Brazil. They're all different calendars, different holidays according to the region of the world that you live in. And the region of the world that I live in is in the United States on the East Coast. And I just wanted to impart a wellness and a happiness, because I was happy, but I felt that perspicacity's response to me was angry. So I want to share with you what does perspicacity mean. Let me just check something here. Okay. What does perspicacity mean?
Perspicacity means the quality of having a ready insight into things, shrewdness.
Okay. It says the quality of having a ready insight into things, shrewdness. So, let me put that back. So to you, does the name of his avatar, his channel name, does that reflect someone who has insight or insight? Is he revealing knowledge, or is he revealing some type of pain? See, I invite anyone on my channel to have constructive criticism. But when I'm not getting it, something constructive, see, he could have said something that would be insightful, that could really share in the Black community what he's really talking about. Now, I only speculated about what he might be alluding to, if he's even alluding to anything. Okay, so I assume because it is New Year's Eve and the next day would be New Year's Day, that he's referring to the Emancipation Proclamation. So let's see on his channel what type of content that he has. Does he share anything about what this day is? Okay. This is his channel. See, my channel, I want to learn. Okay, let me press on this. Okay. Okay, I'm just scrolling down. Okay. Okay, he doesn't have a lot of content. Okay, as you see, I just see 6 videos. Okay, they're very short. See that? That's all that I see of his videos. Okay, I don't see anything that is to really edify the Black community or any community. Okay, you just see his home page. And scroll down, make sure I didn't leave anything. Okay, this one's for 1 minute and 19. Who We Be, and he has the Simpsons here. Okay, that's a cartoon. Okay, James 3:13 and 14. Proverbs. Okay, so it's using things with scripture. Okay, so it's the same thing. The home page and the video page is the same. Okay. Okay, so I'm really concerned when I get this type of comment. You know, I feel that if you, I'm sorry, I feel that if you show goodwill to people and speak blessings, that you should get blessings back. And so I just want to say that, see, I know that we all are, I mean, many of us in the Black community are feeling tense, are feeling angry, you feel left out. And definitely last year, 2019, I was up and down in emotions. And those of you who have been following my channel, you saw my attitudes. I had good days and bad days. But I'm never about insulting or bad-mouthing people. And I really want to be educated. I want to educate and to be educated. I do not know everything. And sometimes I make mistakes. So it would be good that we in the community, Black community, when you're offended, to lovingly share something positive, or if you need to rebuke, do so in a constructive manner and not with malice. So I wanted to make perspicacity statement, I wanted to turn it into something positive, something that's really edifying, that will edify the Black community as a whole. Because see, if we are always with a coarse mouth saying things to people, and to people who you've never met, I don't recognize this person's avatar. I've never seen them before. So a first timer on my channel, at least my viewing his avatar and channel name, I've never had any contact with them to my knowledge. So if you're meeting someone for the first time, shouldn't you speak something that, that is respectful? But we're taught in the Black community, unfortunately, to be aggressive. And see, when you be aggressive with people, you're going to get aggression back. And I think a lot of things that happens to us in this country is that we're all on edge and we're all walking around feeling very defensive, and we're on the offense. And so what happens when you use fire? You get fire back. So my sharing this is to let people know that if you want a dialogue, have a dialogue that is to inform in a constructive manner. Because see, if you use fire, you'll only get back fire. And I think many of our communities is filled with fire because no one is using water. No one is using love to present, to counteract things. And so maybe we should just learn how to, if you don't like something that's happening in your community, then do something constructive. Okay? So again, there's pain in our community. And what type of pain? Well, pain from history. Pain of slavery, pain of being harassed by the authorities, pain by when you want to move into an area and you get gerrymandered, redlined, your property value goes down. You had all the money to move into these luxurious areas, and then so when you go in, boom. So all these things add up. You go to school and you're not really taught your history. And when you're shown your history, you walk in shame, at least with me. I was born and raised in this country, the United States of America, was in the public school system, and I always hated social studies. Always hated it because I knew about what they call slavery. And I've seen things on television, and it always made me feel ashamed. But see, with perspicacity, and I just assume he might be alluding to what today is, Emancipation Proclamation. So now I'm going to show you another screen about the Emancipation Proclamation. Let me switch the screen here. Okay. So I have here something I found on the internet. And as you see here, the Emancipation Proclamation. And the first one here, okay, the archives.gov. Okay, it reads here, President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1, 1863, as the nation approached its third year of bloody civil war. The proclamation declared that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states are and henceforth shall be free. Very interesting. Okay, down below, let's see, is also known as the Proclamation number 5. Okay, very interesting. And then below that, okay, it says, did you know when it took effect in January 1863, okay, the Emancipation Proclamation freed 3.1 million of the nation's 4 million slaves. That's really interesting. Now, if there's 4 million slaves, why wouldn't it free? Why did it only free 3.1 at that time? That's really interesting. Okay, let me just scroll down a little more. Okay. Let's see here. I'm trying to find something. Oh, okay, let's see. Okay, as you see here, the Emancipation Proclamation issued by Abraham Lincoln, okay, was issued initially in 1862, but it came into effect in 63. Interesting. Let me just click on that. I'm just curious about that. Sorry about that. They have those pop-ups. Let me see here. See, I'm reading this for the first time. See, we're all, each one teach one, and I'm teaching myself right with you guys, Okay, let's see what it says here. Let's see. The Emancipation Proclamation granted freedom to the slaves in the Confederate States if the states did not return to the Union by January 1, 1863. Interesting. I didn't know that. That's very interesting. Okay, what else does it say? In addition, under this proclamation, freedom would only come to the slaves if the Union won the war. Wow. Okay, the Union is the northern states, and the Confederate States are the southern states. Okay, so I see a comment here by Amenti, the Writer Media. Do we need to keep talking about slavery like that? Isn't it best you talk about what you can do to stay free? Okay, thank you for your comment. See, that is a constructive statement. And hearing things about slavery all the time can also get me a little antsy sometimes. But see, I'm giving you background information. And Amenti, I don't know whether you heard earlier in the stream why I initiated this live stream, that it was based on a comment that I got. Let me go back to the prior page. Let me go back. Okay, Amenti, do you see this screen here by Perspicacity? I'm doing this video because, in part, of this person's statement. This avatar here by Perspicacity that was sent out yesterday. He was offended because I gave well wishes. I gave well wishes to the viewers of my video, to wish everybody a happy New Year's Day and happy New Year's Eve. And he says here, so you celebrate the day of your oppressors, sold and ripped apart families, SMH, but anyway, what is April Fool's about? So to me, that sounds like someone who's in pain, and that he might have, again, I could only speculate because he's vague, and I just assume because of the Emancipation Proclamation, because it is New Year's Day. So it either is or isn't. Okay. So do you understand, Amenti, why I started this live stream? Please indicate yes or no, because I don't know when you came on board. But this is the reason why. So I felt I needed to address this statement, and maybe he just wanted to feel included that this day is being overlooked because it's New Year's Day, and it also is Emancipation Proclamation. So I want to give information about that. Okay, so I'm giving the history. See, most of us, we don't know about this day. And have any of you, those who are in the chat room, have any of you ever heard of this law, the Emancipation Proclamation? Please indicate a yes or no if you've ever heard of this and if you knew what it was. Because I have a feeling that people in school now don't learn about this, and I didn't know about this day. Okay, so if I don't know about it, I'm sure a lot of other black people don't know about it either. Okay, Amenti is saying April is the true New Year's. I see. Okay, so let's see here. Bear with me. Okay, so this is really interesting. So it's conditional about one's slavery status being ended here, according to this. It's really interesting here. Okay, here it says a proclamation. Whereas on the 22nd day of September in the year of our Lord 1862, a proclamation was issued by the President of the United States containing, among other things, the following to wit. Okay, very interesting. Okay, so, hey, I'm wondering, okay, so this is a significant day. So September 22nd, 1862, this is when it was initiated, this Emancipation Proclamation, but it came into effect January 1st, 1863. So does anyone out there in the community, are you familiar with that day, September 22? Do any of you celebrate this day of the initiation of this law that was to be passed to emancipate? Emancipate means to be released from, to free. Okay, let me know with a yes or no. Has anyone in the community, are they familiar with this day? And do you celebrate that day as a day to remember? Let me know. Yeah, see, I'm just learning this now. Okay, I see a comment by Miss Kines. I'm not sure the pronunciation. It reads, I am sure I was taught about this, but totally forgot that this was today. Yeah, exactly, Miss Kines. Most of us, we don't know. I don't have a television set, but you have people who watch TV and movies, things like that, and you don't learn. You don't learn anything about the significance of this day. There's no parade to bring in the new year with freedom. Isn't the whole concept of freedom and liberty for all, isn't that a day to really celebrate symbolically for this nation? Right? Isn't that a powerful day, a powerful statement to say that you are emancipated? It's a beautiful concept. No matter what you are, to be truly, truly emancipated. That's a powerful day. But I never hear any of us black people who were in North America, in the United States, descendants of that lived in the United States from back then. You know, I don't know any of them who know about this day, who teach their children about this day. See, it's not up to outsiders of our community to teach us this day. It's up to us to teach our children the days that are important to you. Okay, so just like this person here, perspicacity, what he's saying, that this day has a relevance to him, and when I didn't speak that what was important to him, he gave this response. So it was important to him. So if it's important to perspicacity, it would have been important for him to maybe put up content that reveals the knowledge that he may know that the masses of us don't know, right? So let me go back. Okay, I'm just navigating. Okay, yes, Ms. Kness says, I think because it wasn't implemented until June 19th. That is why it may be significant. We have Juneteenth celebrations. Yes, I learned about, thank you for sharing that. I learned about Juneteenth. That was in 2001. I was first introduced to that word, Juneteenth. That I lived in the state of Hawaii, on the island of Maui, and I had a friend who invited me to a party. And it was a Juneteenth party. It just had a handful of people, maybe 7 people to the whole thing. And it seemed a little solemn, but there was no real explanation. It was just like, people who invited and there was some food. But see, it's not up to anybody outside of any community but our own to give the significance of days that are important to you, rather than getting angry when mainstream America, or I should just say white America, when they don't share these days of significance of us. They're not going to share it because it's revealing to what their ancestors contributed against black people. Okay? So if a day is important to you, you alone are responsible of teaching your household. It starts with each individual and their household and the communities that they live in. Okay? So I want to share something else now. Okay? Okay. This is another site that I saw. See, I'm sharing the information that I have that I just got here. And while I'm sharing this page, okay, this page gives details about the actual Emancipation Proclamation. And as you see on the screen, on the far right, look at this page to the far right. This is the actual manuscript. Let me click on it. Okay. Look at that. This is the actual manuscript of a very, very important document in Black American history. Look at that. This is just page 1 of 5 of this document. And it's in print, and some of us don't know how to read print. Okay? And see, this is the courtesy of the National Archives and Records Administration, okay? See that? So these things really exist, okay? See, these are the other pages. This is page 2, page 3, 4, and 5. So this is part of your history. And I think any American Black whose descendants were living in this country, they should have this document in their home. That's your history. Okay? You should know this. We should all know it. Okay? Let me read what it says here in this. Oops. Uh-oh. So I clicked on something. Sorry about that. Okay. I hope the page doesn't change. Okay, let me read this information here. Okay, it says, okay, the Emancipation Proclamation. The Civil War, I'm going to read it because some of you might be in another room and you want to still be a part of the discussion, you want to hear what's going on, so I'm going to read it out loud. The Civil War was a war of contradiction. The South succeeded to perpetuate slavery and instead ended up destroying it. North vowed not to interfere with slavery and won sufficient support to kill it. Unlike many abolitionists, President Lincoln understood he couldn't eliminate slavery without first saving the Union. The Union is the northern states. And unlike many conservative Republicans and Democrats, he realized he couldn't save the Union without eliminating slavery. The Emancipation Proclamation was designed to help the Union, that's the North, win the Civil War and thus preserve the Union. In quotes, to fight against slaveholders without fighting against slavery is but a half-hearted business. End of quotes, wrote Black abolitionist Frederick Douglass. War for the destruction of liberty must be met with war for the destruction of slavery. Okay? So you see that there? Let me go down. Okay. So I'm not going to read any more of this, but you could at your own leisure read the context of this. So the next thing I'm going to show you, okay, I want to read this. Okay, this is from Yale, and I want to read this out loud. Okay, see, this is in print. So I already showed you the page before, the actual manuscript that's in what do you call it, script. So it's hard to read script, and it's on old paper. So this is the printed out version, that this website had furnished. And so I want to read what it says, the Emancipation Proclamation of January 1st, 1863. So that's, what's that, 157 years ago? Something like that? So let's see here. I'm going to read it out loud. It reads, whereas on the 22nd day of September in the year of our Lord, 1862, a proclamation was issued by the President of the United States containing, among other things, the following, to wit, that on the first day of January in the year of our Lord, 1863, all persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States, shall be then, thenceforward, and forever free. And the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authority thereof, will recognize and maintain the freedom of such persons, and will do no act or acts to repress such persons or any of them in any efforts they may make for their actual freedom, that the executive will, on the first day of January aforesaid, by proclamation, designate the states and parts of the states, if any, in which the people thereof respectively shall then be in rebellion against the United States, and the fact that any state or the people thereof shall on that day be in good faith represented in the Congress of the United States by members chosen thereto at elections wherein a majority of the qualified voters of such state shall have participated, shall, in the absence of strong countervailing testimony, be deemed conclusive evidence that such state and the people thereof are not then in rebellion against the United States. Okay. Now therefore I, Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States, by virtue of the power in me vested as Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States in time of actual armed rebellion against the authority and government of the United States, and as a fit and necessary war measure for suppressing said rebellion, do, on this first day of January, in the year of our Lord, 1863, and in accordance with my purpose so to do publicly proclaim, for the full period of 100 days, from the day first above mentioned, order and designate as the states and parts of the states wherein the people thereof respectively are this day in rebellion against the United States, the following, to wit. Go down. Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, except the parishes of St. Bernard, Plaquemine, Jefferson, St. John, St. Charles, etc., Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, except the 48 counties designated as West Virginia, and also the counties of Berkeley, Accomack, Northampton, Elizabeth City, York, etc., and which accepted parts are for the present left precisely as if this proclamation were not issued. And by virtue of the power and for the purpose aforesaid, I do order and declare that all persons held as slaves within said designated states and parts of states are and henceforth shall be free, and that the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authorities thereof, will recognize and maintain the freedom of said persons. And I hereby enjoin upon the people so declared to be free to abstain from all violence, unless in necessary self-defense, you hear that? And I recommend to them that in all cases when allowed, they labor faithfully for reasonable wages. And I further declare and make known that such persons of suitable condition will be received into the armed service of the United States to garrison forts, positions, stations, and other places, and to man vessels of all sorts in said service. And upon this act, sincerely believed to be an act of justice, warranted by the Constitution upon military necessity, I invoke the considerate judgment of mankind and the gracious favor of Almighty God, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the United States to be affixed. Okay, done at the city of Washington this first day of January, in the year of our Lord 1863, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 87th, by the President Abraham Lincoln, William H. Seward, Secretary of State. Okay, now that was a lot, but this is your history. This is our history. It's long and it's detailed, yes. But see, it's important. See, we watch all these videos of violence, music videos that are violent, hearing profanity, seeing people living disgraceful lives. But see, you were here. Your descendants were living there and fought. And yet your day of victory isn't being recognized now. So I share this information. I share this information because we did forget. And this person here, again, that motivated me, his comment, perspicacity, his statement here is what motivated me. I gathered that, again, he felt like his day was being overlooked. And so in commemorating the recognition of this day, which is forgotten by this nation, it's forgotten. And it's forgotten for a reason. Because they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know that you're being put in freedom. See that? This is your history. Know it. Your ancestors died. You fought. So if it's not important to you, it doesn't have to be important to anybody outside of your group. But it is important. And this is a day that you should remember. And maybe in the future, okay, maybe in the future, maybe in the future that you could start something. You can start something in your community. Maybe you can have a parade. Any of you who are still listening in the chat room. Now, is this motivating you enough to maybe start something, a tradition in your family to follow? That maybe you could have this Emancipation Proclamation up on your wall, framed nicely, as a reminder of what your ancestors died for? Maybe it's important enough that, hey, maybe to have in your community a parade. Something to let the world, let the community know, let the country know, let the state know that yes, it is New Year's Day, but it's also the Emancipation Proclamation, giving freedoms. Isn't that important to you? Or is it more important to watch these rap singers and how violence that they speak of, the gun violence, you're killing yourself because you don't like yourself and you don't know the bloodbath of people, for your ancestors. Look at these people. Let me show you something else, what I also want to show you, okay? Look at this. These are some of the things that I found. Let me just scroll up. So look at this one here. Okay, it's entitled "The Last Slave Ship Survivor Had an Interview in the 1930s." Okay, the name of this lady. Let me see if I could. I'm trying to get her name. I forget her name, but this woman here, she interviewed him. Yeah, we back in the day, we had black women who were researchers. Okay, you had researchers. Before you had Oprah Winfrey, you had other black women who were researchers, who interviewed people, who were scholars and writers. Okay, let me go back here. Okay, look at this here. See this person here, the first one, the first thumbnail, the last slave ship survivor. Okay. Okay, he gave an interview. Okay, now does he look like an Indian to you? Okay, let me go down. The next one. Okay. Oluwale Kosola, the last survivor of the Atlantic slave trade. And again, they're referring to the United States because during this time, in the 1865, slavery and the trading of slaves. Oops. I'm sorry, I accidentally clicked on it. My apology. Let me go back. Sorry about that. Yeah, okay. So, in the West Indies, Latin America, slavery and the trading of slaves was still very strong. But in the United States, the importing of human trafficked individuals, so I'm not even going to say slave, these were human beings who were human trafficked, that's the new lingo now, human trafficked into the Americas. Men, women, and children were kidnapped, and horrific things happened to them. Okay, so this person here, okay, he knows where he's from. He was kidnapped, and he was also known as Cujo Lewis. Okay, that's, I guess, the Americanized name. But he had a name. He had an African name. He knew he knew where he came from. And he knew that he was not a Native American Indian. Does this person look like a Native American Indian to you? Do you think white people can't tell this man apart from maybe someone from Mexico? Okay? See, we hate our history so much that we make up stories. Now, the significance of this man, Aluwale Kasola, see, he was kidnapped and he was brought to Alabama with about 200 other people who were human trafficked. And then 3 years later, slavery ended in the United States. So that's what was really significant. And it's a whole history regarding why this incident was so significant. It was the importing of human trafficked individuals from Africa was banned. It was against the law to bring in new slaves, new people. And so these white men made a bet amongst each other if they could smuggle in more African people who were, trafficked. And so they made the bet, and then they did bring in these last people. So it was all on a bet. Okay, this is your history. He knows where he's from. So there's a whole community of people, these last descendants who were the last group of people who were brought into the United States of America, who were brought in by force. Okay? Let me pull this further down. Okay. Yeah, look at this here. The Clotilda slave ship descendants respond to its discovery. Okay, the Clotilda is the name of the ship that brought these last people who were kidnapped to the Americas. And see, I share this information to you because, see, some of you may not be aware about this history. I only learned about this part, about the Clotilda slave ship, just last year. I didn't know about it. They never discussed this in the classroom. But see, now, over YouTube and other social media, they're teaching contrary to this fact. They're pushing on social media that people like him is a Native American Indian, and that slavery never took place, and that this man was here all along. Well, he says otherwise. He told in the interview with this person, get the lady, let me find the lady. This lady here that you see, that person right there, she interviewed him. She interviewed him and discovered where he's from, the whole particulars. So this too is some very, very important history. Your history. Your personal history. See, we were out there. We documented our history there. You have people in your community in the past who interviewed people who were in bondage to get their personal history. See, history is a story that's written down on paper. If you don't write it down, you forget. And then you wonder why when you go to the library, why it's your section on Black history, why it's so small, because you don't write it down. See, the bookshelves get full because people write. If you want people to know about you, you better start writing and documenting your personal history, your community's personal history. Because if you don't, you're only going to get the history of your abuser. And your abuser is going to teach about your history in a negative way, and what will happen to you is what's happening now. You're going to be that angry individual. You're going to be an angry black man. You're going to be an angry black woman, and complaining and wondering why you can't keep your head up high. The reason why you can't keep your head up high is because you're watching the history of your former oppressors who are going to lie about you, who's going to make you look foolish, who's going to make you look like a fool, who's going to make fun of you. You know that the first movie, the first, what do you call it, motion picture in the United States, and it might even be the first motion picture on the planet, it's about black people. Let me see if I can find that here. Hold on, I'm going to switch screens. Okay, I want to find this other document. Okay. It was a movie. Let me see if I can find it. First motion. First motion picture film. Let me see. Okay, that's not it. Okay, I'm just trying to find it here. Okay, I'm just looking here on this screen. Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue. But it was a propaganda film. Okay. If any of you might know the name of that movie, I think it has the word America in it, but it's about post-slavery, and it was to frighten white Americans from blacks. Motion picture. I'm still trying to find it here. Yeah, let me know. Any of you out there who's savvy, who know about this movie that I'm referring to. I gotta find it. Let's see. I'm still trying to find it here. Okay. Kind of slave movie. Let's see. Any of you out there in the chat room, you know? Okay. I gotta find that one. Any of you know the movie I'm referring to? Oh, I think this might be it. Okay, I think it's called The Birth. Let me see. Let me just click on this. Okay, let me just change the screen here. Okay, you see this screen? See, this is important. This is important because, see, we have to start educating ourselves and stop being depressed and stuff. You know, the way that the mainstream government teaches about us will make anyone feel ashamed. And I used to walk in shame most of my life. But now I'm learning to ask questions. And when you start asking questions, people, regardless of the situation that you're in, start asking questions, and then you're going to get a breakthrough. You may not be able to change your situation, but at least you have the insight and the focus on what is important and what to discard. Okay. So you see the screen here, the birth of a nation. Okay, this is a Wikipedia. Let me scroll down. Oops. Okay, as you see on the far right, this movie, The Birth of a Nation, is based on a book that was written by D.W. Griffith. Okay, The Birth of a Nation. Okay, founded on Thomas Dixon, the Klansman. Okay. Okay, so it's based on the book. Yeah, so you see here. Okay, D.W. Griffith. And the name of the book was The Klansman. Okay, look at that. Okay, The Klansman, a historical romance of the Ku Klux Klan, is a novel published in 1905. It was the second work of the Ku Klux Klan trilogy by Thomas Dixon Jr. that also included the Leopard Spots and the Traitor. It presents the Ku Klux Klan heroically. The novel was twice notably adapted. Okay, that's all I can see there. Okay. Okay, Veronica Grayson just wrote, the slave masters separated our ancestors from their families. The real meaning for the New Year's for sale. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Okay, and see, I don't use the term master. See, they're not masters. You know what those people were? They were terrorists. They were human traffickers. See, when you say master, see, that's a status term. Master is someone who has conquered it could be a subject or a domain. They said that they have a domain over something. That's what the word masters means. And so that is a positive connotation to use for someone who is a human trafficker, someone who kidnaps, mutilates, destroys communities, continents, and livelihood. They're not masters. These people were criminals, sociopaths, evil. They're not masters at anything. That's right, they're not masters. Never use the term master regarding to these oppressors. See, that's another word you can use. Oppressor, demon, human traffickers, rapists. That's what they were, because that's what they did. So don't use the term masters ever regarding these people. They don't have master over anything. These were criminals. Okay, so let me read back regarding this movie. Okay, I'm going to read what Wikipedia says about them. Okay, see, this is important because this is what's going on. Propaganda is what's going on. Propaganda and using social media now is the weapon of choice. It is the weapon of choice to destroy you. And how this is done is by putting this misinformation or lies into your head, sharing lies to your neighbors about you. Here, Black people served in the military during the Civil War. Black people served in the North and in the South. See, people forget, people don't realize that you had blacks who fought with the Confederate States, okay? You did have them. Not all black soldiers were just in the North of the Union, okay? They were in the Confederate Army and in the Union Army, in both armies. And then both sides, both governments, had turned their backs on these people who fought valiantly, and then they stabbed them back. And they put in what they call these laws, restrictive laws, and put these Klansmen, which is a terrorist group. The Klansmen, or the Ku Klux Klan, is a terrorist organization against humanity. Okay? But it's done for a reason. Okay, let me just read what it says, this article. Okay. The Birth of a Nation, originally called The Klansman, is an American silent epic drama film directed and co-produced by D.W. Griffith and starring Lillian Gish. The screenplay is adapted from the novel and play The Klansman by Thomas Dixon Jr. Griffith co-wrote the screenplay with Frank E. Woods and co-produced the film with Harry Acton. It was released on February 8, 1915. So folks who are listening carefully, okay, this is an important day for you. If you're a black person or mixed race black person or person of color, this day is very important to you. February 8th. This film was released February 8th, 1915. Okay? And so this is the beginning, real beginning of the perpetuation of the attack on the black family because of this film. So this day is a day of mourning. How many of you out there who's watching this live stream, how many of you knew about this day, February 8th, 1915? How many of you have this as a day of mourning for you? How many? Please enter in the chat room. Please enter yes or no. Did you know about this day? And do you teach your children, your friends, your family, your community, your church? Do they teach this? That February 8th, 1915 is a day of mourning for every black person or person of color living in the United States. Well, this day should be on your wall as a reminder of a day of mourning for you. But you don't have it. You don't know it. And I didn't know it either. See, I'm educating myself right with you guys. Okay? This is important. Let me scroll down. The Birth of a Nation is a landmark of film history. It was the first 12-reel film ever made, and at 3 hours, also the longest up to that point. Wow, that's long. Okay? Its plot, part fiction and part history, chronicling the assassination of Abraham Lincoln by John Wilkes Booth and the relationship of two families in the Civil War and Reconstruction era. Over the course of several years, the pro-Union Northern Stonesmen and the pro-Confederacy Southern Cameroons was by far the most complex of any movie made up to that date. It was originally shown in 2 parts, separated by another movie innovation and intermission, and it was the first to have a musical score for an orchestra. It pioneered close-ups, fade-outs, and a carefully staged battle sequence with hundreds of extras. Another first, made to look like thousands. It came with a 13-page souvenir program. It was the first American motion picture to be screened in the White House. Did you hear that? In the White House. Viewed there by President Woodrow Wilson. Wow. People, how many of you knew that? Please enter in the chat room, yes or no. Did you know that? Did you know this was a first motion picture and that the president of that day saw it? Let's read further if there's any more information on this. Okay. The film was controversial even before its release and has remained so ever since. It has been called the most controversial film ever made in the United States. Lincoln, whom Dixon saw as a Southerner, was portrayed positively, unusual in a lost cause environment. However, the film portrayed black men, many played by white actors in blackface, as unintelligent and sexually aggressive towards white women, and presented the Ku Klux Klan, KKK, as a heroic force. There were widespread black protests against the birth of a nation, such as in Boston, while thousands of white Bostonians flocked to see the film. The NAACP spearheaded an unsuccessful campaign to ban the film. Griffith's indignation at efforts to censor or ban the film motivated him to produce Intolerance the following year. Wow, I didn't even know that. Okay, let me go further. It was a huge commercial success and became highly influential. The film's release has also been acknowledged as an inspiration for the rebirth of the Ku Klux Klan only months later. In 1992, the Library of Congress deemed the film culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant and selected it for preservation in the National Film Registry. Wow. Now, isn't that something? Isn't that something? How many of you knew this? How many? Look at it on the left side. It says it was a budget of $100,000, and look at this. The box office, $50 to $100 million. That's exceedingly high. Wow, you do the math to find out what percentage increase that was. Any mathematicians out there who can calculate that for me? Any of you who are good at math, please type in the chat room what percent increase did the makers of this film got for this film. Okay, their budget was $100,000 and the box office dollars received was from 50 million to 100 million. That is a profit, okay? So what's the significance of this? Well, it's priming the people in this country. It's conditioning white people to fear blacks, okay? Because in the movie they showed that black men were raping white women. But see, historically, who was raping who? It was a white man raping the black woman and the Indian woman, not the reverse. Okay, but they deliberately showed this. See, this is what you call propaganda from the very beginning. See, 1915, that's around the end of World War One. See, it was wartime in Europe. So they're blindsiding you. They're not showing what's happening in Europe. They don't want this country to get involved in Europe, but they put in this film to keep your eyes focused on black people. See that this is a distractant. See, a lot of things that you see are distractants. It's to distract people from seeing what's really important because they're doing something on the side that they don't want you to know about. Okay? So they're setting up an attitude against black people. See, black people were hardworking people. Black people in America had all the skills. We knew all the crafts. We knew blacksmithing. We knew how to make containers like barrels, wheelbarrows. We knew about every aspect of farming because we did all the farming. We knew about plants. We have even scientists like George Washington Carver, who was a scientist. And he made many inventions that benefited the United States as a whole, and white people greatly benefited from his knowledge. But instead of saying, okay, slavery happened, they didn't allow us to thrive, white America. They hurt us instead. We gave them our love. We gave them our strength. And we fought for what we thought was freedom. But instead, they betrayed us. How did they betray us? By laws, by developing these hate groups such as the Ku Klux Klan that was used to terrorize citizens of this country. So you have to teach your children about this. See, this is our history of what happened. See, when you don't know your history, you start to attack yourself. That's my other message here. When you don't know your history and you don't know why certain things happen, you start to put the blame upon yourself. Just look in certain black neighborhoods. When you see the men wearing their pants the way they do, it drooping, do you think they really feel good about themselves when they dress like that? No, they don't feel good about themselves. They're filled with anger and pain. And that's how they express it. People in families, men and women aren't getting married, but everybody has someone else's baby. Do you think family is really being built on multiple partners and you don't know who the dad is? It's not. There's no home stability. So these behaviors are symptoms of historical pain, of not being recognized, such as not being recognized that today is the Emancipation Proclamation of January 1st, 1863. You feel you're being overlooked. You feel unloved. You've done everything to prove your loyalty to the rulers of this country, and then you get stabbed in the back. And then you have people like these people here who do a movie called The Birth of a Nation, a propaganda film against you. See, they didn't do a propaganda film against Indians. They didn't do a propaganda film against people from China who were used to help build the railroads in the West Coast. They didn't have anything propaganda against them, but they had propaganda, their form of social media of that day, against you. And so it was progressive. And then what happened? Many of these black families from the South went and moved up north. And what happened when you moved up north? They forced you to live in what they call ghettos in the cities. That's right. You people were forced to live in urban centers. And in these urban centers, you are absolutely engulfed. You're surrounded by white families, white neighborhoods, and they are watching you. They policed you, just like what they're doing now. I live in New York City, and we are policed by larger majority of peoples. And they have cameras, and they watch you. Everything you do, you're being watched, and you're being abused, and you're saying, I had enough. Many of you don't know your history. I didn't know this. I went to public school. They're not going to have you learn about your history or this film. I never knew about this film, The Birth of a Nation. But I know now. And the Proclamation, the Emancipation Proclamation, I read it out loud for both of you, for everybody here. Know this. Know about your history. And say for 2020 that you're going to make a conscious change in your life. This conscious change is going to say, my spirit journey had shared information that I didn't know about certain days that we should be mindful of to motivate us to do things for ourselves and community. See, when you lie down and give up, then you're saying that the oppressors from your past and present have won. But no, you just keep on fighting there. You fight for your dignity, and you teach your children dignity, that you can produce the ideal community for you to live in. And you do so by believing in yourself, by seeing through the lies and the deceptions of people who create these movies, such as The Birth of a Nation. Or how about in the 1970s? Those films, these were still propaganda films. So on the surface, these films from the 1970s, it portrayed black people as what you call the cool guy wearing the big hat. And they were usually pimps. And who was the prostitute? So it looked kind of macho, but what are they saying? You're going to allow someone to show your women as prostitutes? What are they saying? They don't respect you. So it's teaching the nation and teaching any nation who watches these films about you to not respect you. Okay, Veronica, thank you, sister. Have a blessed day. Much love and greet. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Yes. So again, start educating your family about the things in your life and to motivate yourself. Even from day one, from this day forward, write a plan of action. Those things you want to achieve. What is your dream for you as an individual? Let's say you have children or a spouse. Today, when I finish this live stream, you get a pen and paper and you write down those things that you want to achieve for you and your family. Do that. And you're going to start seeing things progress. Maybe you can write about goals for your community. Let's say you live in a neighborhood that has a lot of violence. Maybe you ladies could meet up and say, hey, our families are being destroyed. Let's come together. Let's fight in our own way. Let's stop the violence against ourselves. Let's stop the violence. Let's stop killing ourselves. Let's stop hurting our bodies through the foods that we eat. We eat a lot of bad foods. There's a lot of obesity. So if the police don't kill you, or gun violence doesn't, gang violence doesn't kill you, your health is killing you because you eat slop. Start speaking out to your grocery stores and say, we had enough of these fast food garbage. We don't want them anymore. Get them out. Start demanding, hey, we want fresh food and vegetables. Start demanding that. Maybe some of you should start learning how to do your own gardening. Plant little herb garden, like parsley and lettuces and things like that in your home. Start learning different skills that your ancestors knew how to do. Your ancestors knew all of it. Your ancestors knew virtually every trade of its day because you are the backbone of trade and commerce. Start tapping into your history. There's some of you who do what's called ancestral worship. Well, for those who follow that, start asking your ancestors different skills. Say, look, ancestor, I live in 2020. And we lost virtually all the knowledge that you had done. You knew all the crafts of the day. You knew all about gardening. You knew all about plant medicine. We forgot it. Please, please, please teach us the skills that we lost, so that I can teach my family, that I can teach my spouse, that I could teach my children, my grandchildren, that I could teach my neighbor. Each one teach one. Ancestor, if you really exist, if you really hear my prayers, please teach me the knowledge so I can break out of this bondage. Please. Yes, start writing down your goals, what you want to achieve. Start speaking out collectively. Don't waste your time. Let me again. I want to show you this page. Okay, remember, folks, I know this is long. I do want to try to quicken up to end this. Now, see, this video was prompted. It was motivated for me to do because of this person here, Perspicacity. Okay, his comment here. Here I just welcome, happy New Year's Eve, and then this is the comment that I get. See that? Okay, it wasn't necessary, and then this was my comment. Okay, that was my comment. So that's why I'm doing this video. See, anyone can say something negative. But I want to make this into a positive. And yes, today is Emancipation Proclamation, or Proclamation 95 it's also called. Yes, this person here, I hope he is educating and teaching his family. If he has children, when he's teaching his children, or is he teaching his children skills? Ask, do your research. Learn skills that will build you up. Stay away from music that pulls down your spirit. Music that deprecates your women. If you don't respect your own woman, you're not respecting your mother either. So how is our community going to expand? How? We're not going to like each other. We're not loving our own. When they see someone in our community trying to better themselves, what happens? Oh, they think they're this or that, right? Have you heard that? I've gotten a lot of times. It's so easy in our community to put down someone. Let's stop trying to just put down someone for the sake of putting down someone. Let's start elevating ourselves. Let's start speaking positive words and affirmations to ourselves and others. And that would be another method that we can use to elevate our communities. It first starts with the individual, and then it spills into the general population and the world. Okay? It starts with you. It starts with each individual. We can do it. Stop looking at films that deprecate you, that make you look bad. Start exploring your world. You can travel to different countries. Let people, when you go to a foreign place, let people see your personal best. So when they see someone that looks like you for the first time, let them see something positive about you because you are the first teacher. You, the way you present yourself, you are the teacher of that neighborhood, of that nation that you're visiting, and you're teaching them about you. And if they like you, and if they learn to understand you, they want to do trade with you. But you have these dumb films that I showed you before. Let me show you that. Okay. Remember this film? Okay, The Birth of a Nation. Remember that? This is what they're showing. See, if you don't teach people your history or what you want them to know about you, others are going to show people this about you. Do you want people to lie behind your back like this movie, The Birth of a Nation? Instead, why don't you start educating others by your conduct? Start reading more. Study. Demand personal excellence for your children to follow. Turn off that idiot box called television. It is a lie box. It is a box of deception to destroy you. It's lulling you and keeping you asleep while people like these people here who do movies against you. And then you wonder why you're not excelling in this country, and you have other people who just come by from Europe or Asia and any part of this world, and they get and you don't. And you wonder why, when they see you, why they don't like you. Well, you allow people like this to create movies such as The Birth of a Nation against you. So rather than complaining about me because I wish people a happy New Year's Eve, okay, you waste all this energy to get upset because I said happy New Year's Eve, okay? You're wasting your energy. Focus on what's really important, people. Focus on what's really important. What's important is the quality of life. What's important is love. Anyone can teach about hate. I don't want to hate in 2020. I want to elevate myself spiritually and emotionally. I want to take care of my health. You can join me by deciding today that today is the first day of something beautiful that you can share with your family and friends and community. A desire to emotionally elevate yourself and promote wellness for you and the world around you. So that is my commemorating this day, the Emancipation Proclamation. May this day and may this New Year's be a happy a healthy and prosperous day for you. Yeah, if you like this content, you could PayPal me if you like. And to do so, you can just go to my channel, Spirit Journey. And on the right side of the banner, you'll see the PayPal me link. Just click on it and follow the prompt. Any amount would be greatly appreciated. And again, yes, share this live stream with friends and family members. And you can write your comments below once it gets uploaded and share what this video meant to you. Each one teach one, right, guys and gals? Thank you again. Happy New Year's and happy Emancipation Proclamation. Each one teach one. Bye, y'all.